When people ask me, whose fault is it? Whose fault is it that Medicare's broken, out of money, that Social Security's broken, out of money? And I say, look, it's not Republicans' fault. It's not Democrats' fault. It's your grandparents' fault for having too many damn kids.
That was Kentucky Senator Rand Paul on the problems facing entitlement programs during last night's debate. One of the few chances the presidential candidate got to speak as he and 9 rivals fought for time. Senator Rand Paul, presidential candidate, joins us now live from Capitol Hill. I was struck by the line that you used there. You said, don't blame Republicans, don't blame Democrats, blame your grandparents. You want to elaborate on that?
Well, you know, it's demographics, and what happened is that we had a whole lot of people born after World War II, the baby boomers, but then they had fewer kids than their parents did, and then their kids had fewer kids, so we don't have as many workers as we once did. When these programs were started, there were about 16 workers for one retiree. So if a lot of workers, it's easy to pay for Social Security and it's easy to pay for Medicare. But now there's smaller and smaller families. That's one of the reasons why Medicare is bankrupt and why Social Security is bankrupt.
But
so it is a thing we have to address. The other main problem we have is that people are living longer. So these are really not political problems, they're actuarial problems, and they should be easy to fix. We just have to gradually raise the age of eligibility for these programs.
But should the Republicans and Democrats not have seen those demographic changes coming and done something about it well before now?
Yeah. That's a good point. And I mean, there is blame to go around. Usually I use the line as somewhat of a humorous line to let people know where the problem originates, because a lot of people are like, what is the problem? And I think it very clearly defines the problem for people once they know it has to do with the size of families, how many workers, how many retirees. And so sometimes it gets the point across. But you're right, Republicans and Democrats bear some of the burden for not coming forward with a solution. The solution is very simple, but it's politically difficult for people to do. They're afraid the public won't like them. But I frankly think the public wants you to tell the truth. And the truth is we don't have any money. We're out of money. We borrow about $1 million a minute. So we do have to fix the entitlement programs.
You have been outspoken in your opposition to the budget deal reached this week. You are planning basically a filibuster, although it's my understanding that Mitch McConnell has maneuvered around it so that you won't be able to engage in the full kind of filibuster that you might have wanted.
Well, it's not actually true. There will be a legitimate filibuster, and I will force them to come in tonight at 1 o'clock in the morning. And the only way they stop my filibuster is if they get to 60 votes. That's the way a filibuster works around here. So this is a filibuster in every bit of the traditional way, but it just matters whether or not I can get 41 votes. If I get 41 senators to actually say that this is a stinking, rotten piece of you-know-what, then maybe we stop it. I object to it because it gives the president unlimited power to borrow unlimited amounts of money over the next year, the last year of his presidency, and it busts the budget caps. This is why we're going broke, because you got Republicans and Democrats getting together, and they both want to bust the budget caps.
Senator, we have a commercial break coming on. Can you stay with us for just a couple of minutes more? We'll ask you another question or two on the other side of this break.
Sure.
Senator Rand Paul, thank you.
At Northrop Grumman, our microchips are getting so small and fast, they're taking on far bigger roles, completely transforming the world we live in, enabling entirely new kinds of technologies, and helping keep this country safe. All thanks to our full breadth of capabilities. Because to us, a microchip's impact should be anything but micro. That's the value of performance. Northrop Grumman.
A message from the Pulaski Law Firm. A government study reports thousands of workers have been diagnosed with asbestos-related mesothelioma. To compensate those affected, asbestos trusts have been established with $30 billion in initial funding. You may be entitled to financial compensation without ever going to court. Act now. Call 1-800-950-MESO for a free consultation. If you've been diagnosed with mesothelioma, get the best care available. Then call us. Mesothelioma. Don't fight it alone.
They're neck and neck for GOP frontrunner. Now Carson and Trump react on The Factor. Don't miss the powerful interviews and Bill's post-debate analysis tonight.
I have a fix on it, Captain. I believe I can lock on it. Put it on the screen.
Great entertainment now comes with a great offer. DirecTV customers who switch to AT&T Wireless can save $120 a year. Plus, right now, get $500 credit for every line you switch to AT&T when you trade in an eligible smartphone and buy any smartphone on AT&T Next. Click today.
Come on.
I thought you measured.
I did measure it. Just take the cushions off.
They are off.
Moving is frustrating, but moving your DirecTV isn't. Simply call before you move, and we'll bundle DirecTV with internet and home phone services for one low price. With this added value, moving has never been more rewarding. The DirecTV Movers Deal. Call and ask about all the benefits today.
Mesothelioma victims and their loved ones may be entitled to a cash award from the $18 billion in asbestos trust funds. And you may not have to file a lawsuit to qualify. If diagnosed with mesothelioma or lung cancer caused by exposure to asbestos, call the number on your screen now. Even if a loved one had mesothelioma or asbestos lung cancer and has passed, your family may still be entitled to a cash award. Mesothelioma is a rare cancer caused by exposure to asbestos. Many victims worked in the Navy or in shipyards, mills, carpentry, roofing, insulation, construction, or automotive industries. For over 30 years, our legal team has successfully helped thousands of victims and families. Time is limited. You may not have to file a lawsuit if you or a loved one has been diagnosed with mesothelioma or lung cancer caused by exposure to asbestos.
Call 1-866-688-9562. That's 1-866-688-9562.
We're back with presidential candidate Senator Rand Paul. Senator, you said you plan to filibuster this budget deal that you do not like, but you cannot stop it, can you?
Well, yes, of course I can. I just have to have a certain amount of votes, and that's what's unknown. Anytime you begin a filibuster, the other side has to try to shut you down. So tonight at about 1 o'clock in the morning, they will try to shut me down, and they will do it by trying to get 60 votes. If they get 60 votes, then my filibuster ends, and then it will be a time certain, but we will have delayed it to a time certain until we get this final vote. The reason I'm making this stink is I'm not sure I can get to the 41 votes that is necessary to continue the filibuster. But the reason I'm doing this is why I ran for office, because I was concerned about how much debt we were adding to the country. You know, we borrow $1 million every minute. And I don't think we can keep doing this. And what disappoints me is that both the right and the left get together to spend more money, and we're going to raise the debt ceiling. That means we're going to let President Obama borrow an unlimited amount of money in his last year in office. And I think it's a serious mistake.
The Senate is normally a collegial place, or it has been up until recent years. By dragging in your fellow senators in the wee hours of the morning to force a vote, you're not going to win any popularity contests. You also said last night that you don't think the ascendancy of Paul Ryan to the speakership on the House side is going to make much of a difference. Are you going to be able to affect change on Capitol Hill if you don't win some political friends?
You know, I think the interesting thing is I travel the country a lot, you know, in my presidential campaign. I haven't met one Republican outside of D.C. who supports this. Every Republican I meet says, absolutely don't raise the debt ceiling unless you have significant budgetary reforms. So I don't think I'm in the minority. I think I'm in the vast majority of Republicans outside of D.C. Even in Congress yesterday when the House voted on this, House Republicans voted 2-1 against it. So, you know, well over half, 2/3 of the Republicans were opposed to this deal. And I think it's a rotten deal. It's not conservative. It's going to explode the debt. It's exactly everything I'm opposed to. So I don't know that I'm trying to make enemies. I'm just trying to do what I told the taxpayers of Kentucky I would do, and that's not add more debt.
You criticized military spending in the debate last night at a time, I mean, we opened our hour with Russians sending warplanes past the Ronald Reagan aircraft carrier. You've got the Chinese threatening our Navy ships when they sail past the artificial islands the Chinese want to build in the South China Sea. Is this not a time when military spending might be prudent?
Well, I think the number one thing and the number one obligation of the federal government, bar none, is defending the country. So when I look and prioritize spending, I'll always prioritize spending towards defending the country. But I don't think we get stronger by borrowing more money. I don't think going farther into debt, I don't think we project power from bankruptcy court, and I actually think the number one threat to our national security is the debt. So no, I don't think you can borrow money even for a good cause. And if we just keep borrowing money and get deeper and deeper into debt, and we say, oh, we're going to build planes and tanks with this, well, if you're doing it by further miring yourself in debt, I think it makes us weaker as a country.
Kentucky Senator and presidential candidate Rand Paul, thank you, sir.
Thank you.